What's up guys, it's your boy RedBeanJeanne here with another analysis video. Today we're going to be going through the grand final set from the Street Fighter V Hotshotz APU qualifier between Raihan and Dianminion. And I chose to go through this set because it shows some really interesting adjustments between a very interesting character matchup that we don't get to see very often, which is Guile versus Juri. Of course we had Dianminion playing the Guile and Raihan playing the Juri. We're gonna jump into this set halfway through the first set before the bracket reset because it's a very long set. I don't want to have like a 30-minute video, and I also just want to demonstrate the difference in the gameplay after what happens after Raihan's adjustments. So basically, what happens is that Dianminion takes the first set 3-1. Raihan actually starts off playing clean, goes down 2-0, and then switches to Juri. So we're gonna go through the matchup, analyze this Juri versus Guile matchup, and see what kind of adjustments Raihan makes. First, shoutouts to Janda Hunter for the stream footage, and let's get on with it. So the first thing we want to talk about is the zoning matchup between these two characters. Of course, everyone knows Guile's a very strong zoning character, but Juri does have some tools to go through fireballs, which I think is why Raihan picked this matchup. So just now, you saw Juri trying to go through with the EX pinwheel, that spinning kick that goes over. So that move goes over fireballs, and if it does hit, can lead into a follow-up combo. So it's going to be very difficult for Guile to actually keep out Juri when Juri has meter, because when Juri has these 2 meters, she can jump over fireballs. It becomes a very interesting mid-range matchup between these two characters, where both players have to really try and read each other's movements. So you see here, Raihan tried going for that pinwheel to try and beat a fireball, but that was a good read or a good adjustment by Dianminion, not going for the fireball, but instead going for a jump in. So what happened in that game was basically Raihan could not get a read on Dianminion's movements, couldn't really get through any fireballs. So Dianminion was aware that Raihan's game plan was to go through those fireballs, maybe using Juri's V skill, maybe by mixing up jump-ins and EX pinwheels. Dianminion managed to adjust by adding different options. So rather than just sitting there and throwing fireballs, doing jump-ins, keeping Raihan guessing rather than falling into a predictable pattern with his fireballs. Okay, Dianminion goes in and Raihan manages to beat him out with a standing heavy kick. Interesting choice there. Okay, so he's gone Raihan all the way to the corner this time, and now he's going to start the corner pressure, and this is a bad spot for Juri. And an interesting flash kick from Dianminion. That might be one of his flaws, is that he does go for really weird flash kick timing sometimes that don't always pay off. See, now, the other interesting thing about this matchup is that depending on who has a life lead, either character can play this zoning game. So now that Juri has a life lead, she's going to back off. She's going to throw some fireballs and keep Guile out. Nice anti-air by Raihan there, good reaction. Nice block on the overhead by Dianminion, but does not get anything off of it. And then so when Juri gets that V-trigger, she has unlimited access to any of our fireballs, and of course that low light kick fireball, which goes across the screen. Oh, it's so difficult to rewind when you have a long stream set like this. Okay, let's not rewind then. Okay, so Raihan takes the first game of the reset bracket. Nice EX flash kick to punish the fireball charge. They're probably reading that Raihan would go for that fireball charge, because it's most likely that Juri would go for a fireball charge after a block string. Nice hit confirm on the Sonic Boom into the V-trigger. He's going to complete the combo. He just completes it into sweep. Nice back roll by Raihan, getting himself out of the pressure there. Okay, another consistent anti-air by Raihan. So I think one of the best things that Raihan did as an adjustment in this matchup is they started anti-airing consistently. So in the previous matchup, he was too focused on just trying to go through Sonic Booms. But Raihan's changed his focus now in the mid-range game, so instead of just trying to fly through Sonic Booms, he's paying more attention to how Dianminion is moving. So rather than just trying to react to Sonic Boom, he's paying attention to stop him from moving forward and also stopping him from jumping in. So you've seen that quite a few times actually. Raihan using the standing heavy kick from Juri or crouching jab to stop Guile from dashing forward, and then also anti-airing, and that's something that takes a lot of focus and very good reactions to do. So it's very impressive play from Raihan actually to shut down all of Dianminion's movement. I see another anti-air. That's much harder to do than it looks, especially against Guile, where you have to worry about his zoning. Nicely confirmed into the super. Not enough to kill, but he's got a huge life. He has him in the corner, and yep, not much Dianminion can do there. He had a lot of meters, so he could have gone for a flash kick, but that was a big risk, and he wasn't willing to take it. So then all of a sudden, it's 2-0. And I would say that this 2-0 lead that Raihan has now is all down to his adjustment to how he's playing the mid-range game. So in the previous set, before the bracket reset, Raihan was too focused on the fireball game, but now he's more playing like a more balanced approach to the mid-range game, trying to get in while also keeping an eye on the ground and the sky at the same time. And so now he's got the corner pressure, and Guile only has 1 meter V-trigger. He just has to guess, and nice stand medium kick, really safe option to close out the round there.
Point for Raihan. Okay.
Okay, some interesting, some scramble situations there. Both players crossing up at a bad range, where it was whiffing, but Raihan finally catches on and anti-airs there with the DP. And another anti-air. See, Raihan's just so ready. I think he just completely has a read on the range and timing that Dianminion wants to jump in at. So I think what Dianminion needed to do in this situation was fall back more onto the Sonic Boom game, because his approaches were getting anti-aired, but for some reason he tried to stay on the offensive even though it was getting caught out. Oh, and there you go. So you see the process of conditioning there. Raihan had such a solid read on Dianminion. He was dominating him at the mid-screen, and he read that at some point Dianminion had no choice but to go for an EX Sonic Boom. And he, with these 3 meters, you know, he has all the resources in the world to try and go through a Sonic Boom, right? Because the EX pinwheel is safe. But it's still such a great read, knowing the exact moment where Dianminion would feel like he had to throw an EX Sonic Boom because his jump-ins weren't working, his dash-ups weren't working, so he was going to revert back to the Sonic Boom game. And Raihan was just so ready for that. Okay, so we're going to go back through the set a bit. I'm going to just point out some key moments which demonstrate what I'm talking about when I'm talking about Raihan's adjustments.
Okay, so it's a reset. They're going straight into it. Dianminion.
So that's the first one. He sees Guile land, jump forward at this range, and at this range, Raihan has the read that Guile's most probably not going to throw a Sonic Boom. First of all, he can't throw a Sonic Boom because he's just jumped forward, right? Because he's jumped forward, he doesn't have the Sonic Boom charge. So Raihan knows that. And if he doesn't have a Sonic Boom after jumping forward, it's very unlikely that he's just going to sit here and block. He thinks Guile's most probably going to dash forward or press a button, which he does. So Raihan presses the standing heavy kick, which is actually at the perfect range. This is like the perfect range for Juri's standing heavy kick to connect. Gets the crush counter, which goes into damage, and gets so much momentum. He gets 2 dash ups because Dianminion doesn't quick rise, which means that he has covered so much space that now he's just like a few steps away from the corner compared to when he was all the way back here. And this corner to corner range, this distance, is so important for any character in the Guile matchup. It's important for Guile, it's important for any character who's fighting Guile, because if you're fighting Guile, your goal is to push him into the corner where he can't run away from you anymore. And that's what Raihan has done successfully off 1 hit. Of course, he gets back thrown into the corner now, and now he's in the corner. But it's just very clutch play from Raihan here, I believe. Or is this when he gets bodied in the corner? Oh yeah, so 1 bad flash kick from the minion. Raihan gets all that space back. So, yep. So, Dianminion walking back, looking like he's trying to throw a Sonic Boom. Trying to bait Raihan into moving forward. But I think Raihan sees here that he's not holding the EX sonic boom, and because Dianminion is not holding the EX in EX bar here, he feels that it's more likely that Dianminion is going to jump, which is probably a read that he made after playing one whole set with him. Because of that, he was ready with the anti-air.
Oh, wow.
So we'll see whether Dianminion consistently jumps in when he doesn't have meter.
So Dianminion now, Raihan both have to win 3 times again.
See, again, he was just standing there, crouching jab, so ready. He wasn't. I don't think it was a reaction to the bazooka knee, but he was just ready with the crouching jab because he knew that Dianminion was most likely trying to make a ground approach that time because he's just anti-aired Dianminion, right? So once Dianminion's been anti-aired, Dianminion's probably going to be scared of jumping, so he dashes forward instead, and Raihan was ready to stop that.
500 ringgit for
And
the
another anti-air. Okay, I think I see what's happening.
for the loser of this. Either way,
Okay. Well, I think what's happening here is that Raihan's identified that Dianminion is a very logical player. Okay, everyone knows that Dianminion is a very solid Guile player, but I think maybe one of Dianminion's weaknesses as a Guile is that when you compare him to, let's say, a top player like Chuan's Guile is much more unpredictable. Well, first of all, Chuan's spacing is better. Chuan's much better at playing a Guile spacing where he's completely safe no matter what you do. But the other thing is that Chuan's movement is much more unpredictable. You're not sure when he's going to dash forward, not sure when he's going to jump forward. But Dianminion here displays some very predictable movement because he's staying at the same range between him and Juri, right? Staying at the same range all the time is good sometimes because if you're a zoner like Guile, you want to keep them at that range where you can react to things, right? But the thing is, if you're at this mid-screen range, let me try to rewind it here. If you're at this mid-screen range where you can react, that also means that your opponent can react. So if your opponent's willing to accept that you might approach with a jump in or a dash up,
500 ringgit
then it also makes it very easy for your opponent to react at this range.
300 ringgit.
So the pattern was Dianminion jumped, Raihan anti-aired, they went back to the same neutral range. Dianminion dashed forward, Raihan stopped it with a jab, and then the next time, Dianminion jumped again. So you can see the pattern here. It's Dianminion keeps alternating between between dashing it and jumping in for his approach, while doing it from the same range. So Raihan just keeps him at that range. So Raihan knows, oh, if I anti-air Dianminion, Dianminion's going to try and dash forward because Dianminion thinks Raihan's watching the air.
Okay.
And then once he gets stopped with the dash, once he stops the dash,
Now Dianminion.
Dianminion thinks, oh, he stopped the dash, so I have to jump instead.
Oh, no, the stun.
So Dianminion jumps, but then Raihan knows that
Still bad
Dianminion
time to stun.
is going to try and dash up instead. So he's ready with the anti-air again. So Raihan is just completely reading Dianminion's movement pattern.
Very big line
And
lead.
in Street Fighter V,
Can he finish this?
just stopping your opponent's movement like that
Jack flash kick.
with a jab into a combo or the anti-air gives you so much screen position and so much momentum. And that was the key to Raihan winning this grand final set.
Juri wins.
Okay, I'm going to turn on volume here. So this is the end of the video. So let's just recap the keys to Raihan's victory. The first was Raihan playing more patiently and not focusing on trying to go through the sonic booms. Second key was Raihan reading the space that Dianminion was most comfortable at, which is that mid-range space here that you can see right now. The third key is being ready to stop the dash with the crouching jab. And the fourth key was being ready to anti-air. So this range, and getting comfortable with this range, was what allowed Raihan to win the set. Because he knew that this is the range where Dian was most likely to either dash or jump. And he also knew that Dianminion would alternate. He would keep switching between dashing and jumping very predictably. If the dash didn't work, Dian would jump. If the jump didn't work, then Dian would dash. And Raihan completely read that. And because that was ready to completely stop any of Dian's movements. And by stopping those movements, Raihan just held the momentum throughout the set and took this grand finals. So there you go, guys. Very clear analysis right there. Very easy to see the adjustments that Raihan makes, and this is a very good example of the fighting game metagame and how to adjust to your opponent. So I hope that was informative for you guys. Thank you for watching, and congratulations Raihan for winning the Hotshotz APU qualifier, and thank you Hotshotz for running this tournament, running more tournaments and more opportunities for the Street Fighter 5 seat in KL, especially for amateurs. And thank you once again to Janda Hunter for providing stream footage and for allowing me to make this video.